So again, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to talk about transitioning fleets. So let's do just a quick intro so we know who everybody is, and we'll kind of get into the conversation. Myron, do you want to start?
Sure. Myron Keehn, the President and CEO of Edmonton International Airport.
Mike Karleen, Senior Fleet Manager for Trimac Transportation.
I'm David Richards, the General Manager for Diversified Transportation.
Okay. So do we want to start, trains, planes, automobiles? Where do we want to start?
Planes.
Okay, so we've got basically the whole network here from, planes flying around the world. We've got, buses and trucks. We just nicely launched the 5,000 Hydrogen Vehicle Challenge, and I know all three of you are part of that. So maybe, can you just talk a bit about, what are you doing inside your organization to help with this transition to net zero and hydrogen for your fleets?
Yes, certainly. So we partnered around 6 months ago with Diesel Tech Industries, who are an Edmonton-based firm, to develop dual fuel technology. So looking at directly injecting a calibrated amount of hydrogen directly into each port of the diesel engine. Our fleet of about 550 coaches depreciates over 19 years, and so there's a lot of sunk capital there. So we're looking at ways that we can adhere to the targets for 2030 and 2050, and work to that common goal of zero emissions, and still get the life out of our diesel engines, which we've invested in.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think we have to jump from here to there, but we need to do a little bit of bridging. So you've got already a ton of investment in vehicles, and it makes great sense to add on that dual fuel, both to immediately decrease your carbon, but also figure out kind of what does your supply chain look like and all these other pieces, right?
Yeah, thank you. It's a really good question. And we see this as bridging technology, technology which is going to be around for the next 20 years, that is going to bridge, especially while we're waiting for the infrastructure to catch up. Not just the hydrogen distribution, but also facilities.
Yeah.
This technology, we're able to isolate the hydrogen tanks, purge the system, and still utilize our present maintenance facilities and storage facilities. Also, the fact that running a Tier 4 diesel engine on the hydrogen has many benefits, and not only cleaning up the emissions, but certainly cleaning up the engine as well.
Okay, so we've got coaches, buses. What are you doing on trucks, Mike?
So Trimac has been partnering with Azatec, which is Edmonton Global, AMTAs, a lot of other different partners that are involved in this thing's kind of been ongoing for about 5 years now, but we're getting closer to the finish line. We've got the hydrogen cube. Edmonton will be commissioning, Suncor will be commissioning that site in Edmonton soon. So Trimac is committed to both driving and delivering those loads, as well as fueling buses. As the first part of that project, we have the actual trucks coming to Bison and Trimac in the fall, where we'll be running between the Edmonton and Calgary corridor. We have some electrified trucks running in Highland Copper for Tech Resources. It is running back and forth 3 to 4 times a day. We're just trying to stay close to the technologies that are emerging, because we want to know what's going to fit with us. We have a real issue with payload. So some of, in Canada, 140,000 payload is pretty standard for us. In the US, it's a lot less. But most of the testing and stuff like that that's on the road now is for freight. So we're just trying to see what's going to be fit for us. And the dual fuel conversation is interesting to us as well. So we're just looking to see what's going to be the best fit for Trimac.
Okay. Really interesting. And I've got about 800 questions for both of you. But Myron, like the Edmonton International Airport, or as YAG as we all lovingly refer to it, you guys are really one of the most innovative airports in the world. You want to be one of the most aggressive, if not the most aggressive, to get to net zero really before anybody else. It's a huge part of the value proposition here. Can you walk us through a bit of what the airport's doing on this whole shift to hydrogen and net zero?
Sure, absolutely. We believe it's really important to demonstrate not only for today, but for the next generation,
Yeah.
the future transportation. That future transportation can be green. And as was spoken about earlier, our colleagues here are looking at transition technologies. It's a combination of transition technologies, taking existing fuels that have 20 or 30 years and putting on technology like dual fuels to be able to use hydrogen in them, but also creating the environment and ecosystem to attract and adopt new technologies. And the best way to predict the future is to create it. And we're seeing that here with the Regional Hydrogen Hub. The Edmonton Regional Hydrogen Hub, and kudos to Edmonton Global, both of you, for creating what is becoming, it is the North America's largest show, but it's really showcasing how we can all work together to innovate and create the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to come back to you though. Can you talk a bit about what you're doing maybe with Toyota, or at least what your goals are in terms of vehicles and shifting to hydrogen?
Absolutely. We think airports are perfect ecosystems to decarbonize because you have a supply and a demand that can be located in one area. And so working collaboratively at the Hydrogen Hub last year at this conference, we were able to announce partnerships, 13 partnerships. Some of the partners are here. And for example, Vexel, which has the first armored car that's running dual fuel diesel hydrogen. And so working collaboratively with partners like that on transportation, working on busing, working on cars, you mentioned about Toyota. It's about how do we introduce hydrogen vehicles to the general public?
Yeah.
How do we get people to understand public adoption and democratize the use of hydrogen and introduce hydrogen to the general population? So I think the airport's a perfect ecosystem. Arrive at the airport and jump in a hydrogen taxi. Arrive at the airport and rent a hydrogen car. And of course, a bus operated by our fine folks next to me, trucks operated by fine folks next to me, can service the whole ecosystem. So it's really that component, but also the future in the aviation side. So the future of flight in 2,000 nautical miles and less is going to be hydrogen. Sustainable aviation fuel will be longer haul, but shorter haul will be hydrogen. And so we're the perfect ecosystem for that. So aviation, partnering with Zero Avi on the future of hydrogen flight in Edmonton. We've got the hydrogen demand and the hydrogen supply, but also working with all of our partners in the ecosystem. So the tug that comes to your airplane, the catering truck, the fueling truck, they can all be on hydrogen.
Yeah.
So it really is a unique ecosystem to try these technologies like dual fuels and start to introduce some of the world firsts here in Edmonton.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And so much of what we've been talking about, especially last year, and is really the production side. This year I think one of the strongest themes we've had is the growing of demand, the de-risking of it, across different types of industry, whether you're, the infrastructure, the fueling stations, the maintenance yards, the insurance companies, all of these pieces that have to come together, which is really at the heart of this 5,000 vehicle challenge that we're all a part of. Are there pieces of the environment that we still need outside companies to come into? Are there opportunities to invest inside what you're seeing?
Well, I can just say that in our space, because we're bulk, primarily bulk transportation company, everything that we do is either pumped on, pumped off, compressor, wet kits and stuff like that, and we don't see a lot of testing when that comes in, like when driven off the PTO or whatever, to deliver those loads for our customers. We don't see a lot of that.
Yeah.
So we're looking for ideas, partners, that sort of stuff. Want to stay close to that, see how that develops, because that's going to be a key indicator on what Trimac invests in as well.
Really interesting. So are you looking for investments as well?
We're looking for partnerships, not necessarily just investments, but just how we keep close to it and take advantage of all of the work that's being done. And this is a great stage to network and talk to different people and listen to some of the experiences they're going through. Yeah. Whether it be dual fuel, straight hydrogen, or a mix of many different things. And I think that's probably going to be a mix of different solutions to get us through that transition period, so we can see the hydrogen price come down and the technology change and stuff, so that you can get a lot more adopters.
Well, I think we just talked to Eric from Air Products, and they've now announced the world's largest hydrogen fueling station. Earlier today we talked to Linde. They're now in the process. They're not quite at final investment decision, but they will be building similar scale, among the world's largest net zero hydrogen facilities as well here. That one of the things they want to build is fueling infrastructure. So there's a lot happening just with those two. Then we've got others that are coming on board. Is it access to the fuel that's kind of the challenge still, or what's the challenge right now?
I think when I think about hydrogen infrastructure, I'm thinking about the fueling, but I'm also thinking about the maintenance facilities, the storage facilities, which all need to come online, and we're going to need funding and grants for that. And that's the nice thing about the dual fuel that we've developed with Diesel Tech, is that we're able to isolate that hydrogen and then continue to work on those diesel units in a conventional shop and store them in a conventional garage.
And Myron, I know you're always looking for partners. You're always looking for innovative companies to partner with. Are there opportunities that you say, I need a company, because we've got people all over the world here, people all over the world watching. Are there companies or partners that you say, I need someone who does this?
Yeah, great question. I think what we're always looking for are partners that have symbiotic abilities. So we're helping them, they're helping us. So I think one of the areas that particularly our region will be looking for, and I'm thinking about the future of this industry, is in the training. How do we create the ecosystem here that can have the necessary skills to maintain all these new vehicles, to manage them differently? And why can't Edmonton be Canada's center of excellence for hydrogen fuel cells, manufacturing, production, maintenance? And so we're looking for how do we have the right partners to come and provide those services we talked about earlier to do that in our ecosystem. Why would we want to have this here and then send it somewhere else to be fixed? So I think there's an opportunity to maintain, to do that here, and that will attract. So for us, that's something we're thinking of what's the next thing in the ecosystem. It's really that labor and talent attraction.
Yeah, that's really brilliant. Okay, so we only have a couple of minutes left. Is there something that you really want to say about what you're doing next, what's coming in the future? Just would love to have a bit of a perspective on where you see yourselves and your company being in the next couple of years.
I think for ourselves, the partnership and the development of the dual fuel, even though it's fitted to a motor coach, that system is adaptable to any. First of all, D13 diesel that's on the road, and every third or fourth truck's probably a Volvo. And certainly coming next is Cummins and Detroit. And that technology is going to be key as a stepping stone for our industry.
Yeah, and people may not know, both those companies are looking at hydrogen combustion engines, not fuel cell. So it's another whole stream of engine types.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think because of the prohibitive cost of a hydrogen fuel cell unit, having sunk capital into an asset already, this is going to be key as a bridging technology, as a stepping stone, while we fully depreciate our assets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for Trimac, total cost of ownership is always a big factor. We're an intermediary. We move products all over North America, as well as running all of our National Tank Services shops maintenance. So we have a real concern on how the regulations are coming in for hydrogen into maintenance facilities, what that's going to mean for capital cost and to get those facilities able to deal with those things. So, the dual fuel and Detroit and the different ICE engines that are being developed for alternative fuels have a huge impact for us. Battery technology isn't there yet for our type of business, and it may be a while to get there, but by that time maybe hydrogen is already developed and good. But in the meantime, as a dual fuel thing, it has a lot of implications for our fleet.
Yeah,
we want to stay close to that.
And sorry to jump in there, but I think a lot of people don't think about the challenge that batteries present versus the opportunity of hydrogen for coaches and for especially longer haul vehicles. It's if you've got a bus that's electric, about a third of its life has to be plugged in. So it's not out making money, it's not moving people. Same thing with long haul.
Yeah, that's really no different for us. It relegates the electric vehicle to very, very short distances for us, and the cost of ownership is over $500,000 versus an ICE vehicle that's under 200. So it's a huge difference in investment. So there's a gap there that we got to get to. Yeah,
dollars matter. Myron?
I just think, again, for those that listening, in the future is actually being created here. And you look at the Edmonton Regional Hydrogen Hub, you look at the Edmonton International Airport, you look at Villeneuve Airport we also have, and look at all the partners here. It's really an ecosystem as a living lab. So really come here, experiment, take a risk. There's a community here that will support you to try to help you achieve your goals, and together we can do more. And I'm really seeing that here this is the second year, 8,000 people. It's just amazing what's actually happening, the energy in this space.
Okay, I think that's a great point to end on. So again, want to thank each of you so much for being part of this. You're absolutely leaders in this community and really showing what's possible. So just really thrilled to have you here, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Edmonton Global stage. Thanks so much, guys.